One of the things that as a beekeeper we need to do, and you can start doing before you even get your bees, is to do a little research. So I know this is backwards, but this is a really fun beekeeping book, beginning beekeeping book. I'll put a list of the ones I recommend below. But one of the things I do every morning is to read, not just beekeeping books, but all kinds of books. And I don't have a lot of time, so I set my timer for 5 minutes. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but it actually gets enough information in you that you can just keep going, and 5 minutes is nothing. So I wanted to demonstrate what 5 minutes of reading is actually like. So I'm gonna read this book. I'm setting my timer on my computer. I'm gonna read it for 5 minutes. And you'll see, you can read a lot faster when you're not reading out loud, but I'm gonna try it now. So this is the honeybee hive in this book, page 14, and we'll see how far we get. Let's start the countdown. The honeybee hive is a complex network of systems and signals, but the purpose is simple: create an environment where the colony can survive and thrive. It's all about location. Honeybee survival requires that they locate and keep a suitable location to build their nest of wax combs for rearing a brood and for storing food. They prefer that nest location be inside a cavity, such as in a tree or in the ground or a man-made structure. The colony tends to have two main needs for survival: find an appropriate hive location where bees can gather, and more importantly, store food to survive year-round, especially when the bee forage is scarce, such as during a harsh winter or severe flooding or droughts, all extremes that can threaten colony survival. Propagate genetics through drone production and reproductive swarming, also known as casting swarms. In the wild, bees prefer nest sites that are 8 to 15 feet high with a volume of 8 to 11 gallons. They want to be snug so they can be protected and defend their colony, but they also want room to grow and for honey storage. They frequently choose sites that were previously occupied by other honeybees, especially if they have old combs that are ready to use. Once a colony chooses a location, the bees go right to work, sealing cracks and coating the inner walls with propolis, which not only weatherproofs the hive but also adds antimicrobial and antifungal properties that keep the health of the hive strong. The bees also work together in the hive to maintain proper temperatures for brood rearing, which can involve heating or cooling the hive depending on seasonal temperatures. Once they've chosen their new home, the honeybees begin building their combs by attaching 4 to 8 combs to the top or sides of the nest. Combs are constructed parallel to one another and have about 1 centimeter between each one, which is called bee space. This allows the bees room to walk around and patrol the nest without bumping into one another. Making honeycomb is a high energy consumption task, so honeybees try to be efficient in their efforts. It takes 14 pounds of honey to produce 2.2 pounds of honeycomb, so their first year in a new location is often the most difficult because they're usually starting from scratch. Not only will they need lots of honey reserves to build their home, but they'll also need to start storing enough honey to make it through their first winter. Activity in the beehive never stops. Bees are always at work, building, cleaning, assessing, protecting, feeding the queen and her brood, and searching for more food sources. It's no wonder they're the source for the idiom, busy as a bee. Like many insects, honeybees go through development stages from birth to adult. Their life spans depend on the functions they perform, but it's the queen and the kinds of eggs she lays that decide each bee's role and its fate. Eggs. Once worker bees assess a colony's needs, they'll build wax cells in varying sizes to meet those needs. The queen can then quickly measure a cell size to know what kind of egg to lay. A fertilized egg results in a female bee, and an unfertilized egg results in a male bee. This egg stage lasts approximately 3 days. Female bees are diploid, meaning they have 2 sets of chromosomes, one each from their mother and father. Male bees are haploid, meaning they have 1 set of chromosomes, just one from their mother. This genetic makeup might not mean much to the queen, but it becomes a factor for the eggs she lays. Larva. After 3 days, the egg hatches into a larva that's also called a first instar. The tiny larva will lay in the bottom of the cell in a C-shaped position. The larva needs copious amounts of food and begins growing almost 6 times its size every day. For the first day, all the new larvae are fed a rich diet of royal jelly. If the larva is to become a queen, she remains on a diet of royal jelly, but the workers and drones switch to brood food, a mixture of pollen and honey. Feeding larvae is a continual work, and bees will visit each larva approximately 110,000 times during the first 8 to 10 days of larval life. Pupa. Roughly 8 days after their birth, worker larvae are capped shut in their cells. On the 9th day, the larvae spin a silk cocoon made from a glandular secretion in their head. On the 10th day, the larvae lay back in position, their heads toward the top of the cell opening to complete their pre-pupal stage. On the 11th day, a 5th molt occurs, leaving the pupa white. The bees gradually develop their color during the next week, when they will undergo their 6th and last molt. This is when the bees transition from pupa to imago, the final adult stage, and chew their way out of their cells. Adult. All 3 castes or stages of bees, workers, drones, and queens, begin with the same 3-day egg stage. They start to differ, with the queen having the shortest larval and pupal stages and the drone having the longest stage. The honeybee's life stages table is extremely important diagnostic tool for beekeepers to use when inspecting hives for good queens and good laying patterns. All the factors that go into the rearing of the egg, including diet, fertilization, and cell size, will have a direct result on what kind of adult emerges from the cell, its lifespan, and its larger role within the hive. Boom! That was 5 minutes, but I actually gleaned a lot of information about bees just from that, and a lot more than you would know if you didn't read at all. So what I do when I read books is I always keep a pen, and after I read, I make any notes, and I mark the book where I left off, which actually will be the next page, which is going to be The Queen. This is an awesome book. And so tomorrow I will pick up the book, set my timer, and I will read for 5 minutes. And I actually think that reading in small increments like that helps you to process that information a lot better than if you were to just read the whole book at once, at least for me. Reading the whole book at once has its place, but we usually don't have time for that. And as a new beekeeper, this is going to be so useful to you. Start reading before you even get your bees, and you will be miles ahead. Of course, you might not have any references to hang that information on, but as you go, what you read will make more sense, and then you'll practice what you've read, and you'll see what you've read, and then you'll start putting all the pieces together. So I just wanted to do this quick little read so you get the gist of what it really means to just keep that education going, and that 5 minutes really is enough to get you going. So please do that, and I will see you guys next time, and soon we'll be getting our nukes. Bye.